what is your number one too?
So it's understanding who you are, and it's understanding your soul purpose. And when I say soul purpose, I think maybe the way I use it, or maybe sometimes the words can seem misleading, but your soul purpose is all about living a life fully aligned to who you are, not to who your parents told you to be, your society. I don't know anyone's soul purpose. And people think, what's my soul purpose? They ask me, I was like, I don't know. The only person that knows your soul purpose is you. When I'm working with a client, when they find their soul purpose, when they understand who they are, that's how they become more confident.
How it works, at what stage do they come to you? Like they want to connect to a higher being, or they're at that stage, they get fatigued or something, or they crash, they collapse?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's very different for a lot of my clients. Usually I'll meet them on like a workshop. Like usually I have like workshops and talking about burnout, talking about self-love. That's a huge thing that's also important. Talking about soul purpose. So they'll usually come to my workshop, and one of these things maybe they're struggling with. A lot of times it's a lack, like there's a lot of lack of self-love going on here. So that's a huge thing that they'll come to a workshop, and I think some of the things I'll share will resonate with them, and then they'll be interested, and they're like, I'd like to know more. So then we just have a conversation and we see, am I a right fit? What are you looking for? What kind of support would you need? And then from there, they decide if they want to work with me. And usually I work with someone one-on-one for 4 months.
For 4 months?
4 months, yeah.
4 months.
4 months. And then that's the program that I take them through. And in those 4 months, where first off setting goals and we're understanding who we are, we're overcoming limiting beliefs, first identifying it, because a lot of times we're not aware of our limiting beliefs, so we're identifying it, we're becoming aware of it, identifying it, overcoming it, putting in little action steps so that when it happens again, you don't do the same thing before, and you break the pattern, and you've shifted your mindset. So those are the things that we do. That's why I say mindset, and because these are a lot of just mindset kind of an inner work that we do.
So after 4 months, usually what are the results? And how do they measure their progress? Is it something mental, or is there some yardstick that you use for measurement, some ruler?
So like when we start working together, I give them a questionnaire. I'm like, what do you want to get out of this? What are your goals? So they set the goals, right? And I'll just say, for example, it'll be like, I want to feel more confident, or I want to not have the negative talk or the negative voice in my head be so loud. So it's very different, but these are like the common ones. And then at the end of the program, we go back to the goal set, and I'll be like, so is this still true today? And they'll say no. And they're like, no. Or like they'll say, when the anxiety comes up, when the stress comes, now I know how to deal with it. So it's not about, you will never be stress-free. That's not the point. I will never, that's never happening.
So what is your number one go-to tool to make people feel more confident? I think this is very huge because there's a lot of pressure, society, social media, family, workplace.
And when we do that, how we do that is, like I say, you're born knowing this. It's not a thing like you have to go off and find. You have it in your heart, in your soul. But what happens is as we go through life, we're then told these stories of you need to have this. You need to be this person to be happy. You need to do that. So then we have all of these stories that then I like to say, this is your soul purpose. You have it. It's there. But then there's like all this fog. So you can't see it. So what I do is I help remove the fog, help remove the fear, help remove the doubt. So you can connect to your soul purpose. And when you know your soul purpose, you know who you are, you're just so much more confident now. Like now people will say, oh, I don't like you doing this. I don't like you doing that. I'm like, that's fine. I'm not for you. Like I get you rejected. I'm like, do you want to work with me? No. And I'm like, before it would be like, oh my God, I'm a bad coach. What's wrong with me? Now I'm like, that's totally fine.
Yeah, right.
I'm not the coach for you. There's someone who can help you better because I know who I am. I know what I stand for. I know what I'm aligned to.
Right.
So the more I just stay on my path of alignment, I know it's not about being better than anyone. It's just being like true to yourself. So I know that me doing this is true to me. This is not, or this person is. So when you flip that mindset of, oh, I didn't get this because I'm not better, or I'm not this too, that's just not for me. You give so much peace, and that's how I have confidence, and that's how my clients have confidence, is because they know who they are. And they either know this is for me or this is not for me. And that's it, yeah.
We're still on the path of confidence. How you said it's about how you carry yourself, your acceptance, you accept that some things are not for you. And basically you help your clients as well to deal with rejection. That's one of the first part of being confident, and you understand everything is not for you. What about the physical aspect? I know this is huge. A lot of people feel lack of confidence, low self-esteem when it comes to how they look. Even for most guys, a rejection from a lady sparks a lot of low self-esteem.
Yeah.
What is it? Have you worked with guys before?
Yeah, absolutely. I work with guys, and that's what I wanted to say. And I'm glad I'm on this podcast. And like, I would love to work with more guys, because the transformations, honestly, with the men I've worked with have been like, they are rock stars. Let me just tell you.
So you viewed guys to be rock stars.
Like,
I like that.
They are absolute rock stars. Like, when I see them transform, I think it's also because men are like, they're more masculine, and they like, when I give action steps, they'll do it. We're very emotional, so I need a little bit more.
Something that makes me feel good.
Yeah, we're a little softer, but for men, I can tell you, hey, you need to do 1, 2, 3. They'll do 1, 2, 3, and then you just see the shift happen faster. And so, yes, first off, yes, what you're saying, body is a huge thing. Your physical is a huge thing. And that is still a big thing for me. One of the stories last week I posted is I joined the gym for the first time in almost 10 years because I struggled so much with having a healthy relationship with my body and having a low-key eating disorder in my 20s. I didn't even know I had an eating disorder until one of my friends who's a health coach, and I was explaining, she was like, that's an eating disorder.
Whoa.
And I was like, this is what I'm saying, is because I thought it was normal to starve myself. I thought it was normal to be tired all the time because I wasn't eating enough calories.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that feel very tired. Particularly a friend of mine, she feels tired easily. Once or twice a week, her head is spinning. And when you see her eat, she eats just a slice of bread and sour cream.
That I'm not a nutrition or health coach, but I can already say on so many levels, like, where's the protein? Where's like the nutrients? Where's the minerals? Where's...
Or maybe just a croissant.
Again, not a health coach, but still I can identify where is your protein? Where is your good fats? Where is
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying, having this eating disorder for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And
like I said, I didn't know I was an eating disorder because I thought it was like I was supposed to, just because all of my friends were doing this too. But like, having headaches and also being tired all the time, before you get into the mindset and the spiritual side, I'm always like, is your body right? Are you eating well? Are you sleeping? That's the first thing. I'm not there. That's not really my domain. I help people. But if you're not doing that, forget all of this stuff that I'm talking about. That's the first place you need to start. But it's really not that hard. It's literally just like eating breakfast. Like, I never used to eat breakfast. I used to have coffee on an empty stomach. That messes up your blood sugar like you would not believe, and then your energy level goes, and then 3 p.m.
Right.
So then that whole thing. But so yeah, it's these little things that I do differently. And what I say is, I just joined the gym because for me, even though I'm a yoga teacher and I practice yoga regularly, when I go into a yoga studio, I don't even see bodies. It's a spiritual practice for me. I'm there for myself. It's me and my mat. Sometimes the teacher's saying something and I'm doing something else.
Right.
So yeah, it's a physical practice in the way I'm moving, but it's not. But the way I used to view the gym is I would go to the gym to punish myself. That's what I was doing in my 20s. And I was punishing myself when I ate, right? So I was like, oh my God, I ate a burger. I need to go and I need to work off 1,000 calories. So
it's like you eat a burger and then with the mindset that, I'm going to walk it over the gym.
Yeah, but it wasn't work it off. It was like, I'm going to punish myself. It was a few steps further than work it off. It was like, and there was so much guilt attached to it. So it wasn't even just the workout. Even after the workout, I would work out and I would still feel bad about myself from eating a burger. And I'm like, burger has meat. It has things. I don't even eat them every day. So there's a lot of, again, that's then when the mindset can come in, the rewiring of, you can have a burger, you can have like a cheat day, but not feel guilty.
Right.
That's my part, is the not feeling guilty about eating. And I do have clients who are working on their relationship with food. You can eat a piece of pizza or like
once in a while.
Exactly. And not beat yourself up. I think there was a huge thing, and this is what I used to struggle with perfectionists. It's 0 or 100.
No, when it comes to food, I think it's good to taste some of the nicest things. Once in a while, I have a steak.
Yeah.
And the thing they don't tell you is that eating burger, it's not a problem.
No.
How often you eat burger is the problem.
exactly.
Yeah. So when they say, oh, don't eat this, don't eat sugar, your body needs some level of sugar too.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, we know sugar spikes your whatever, your energy levels, and then you keep crashing. But if you keep missing on the good things in life, at a point, it takes a lot of regrets.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Or like people who are like, oh, I can't go out because I get social anxiety because I don't want to eat in front of people. Like there's so many things of like, but you're missing out on life.
Yeah.
Food is a lot of times when we're gathering, I think mostly every culture gathers around food, right?
Yeah.
We love to eat. So then when you're restricting, you're not only restricting your body, but you're restricting yourself from joy of connecting with others. So that's a huge thing to work on. It's definitely like mine is more of the mindset towards that, not as far as like the nutrition stuff of that, but that's absolutely our physical, our body is important.
Yeah. So about your male clients, I'm really interested because I think most are wellness coach and all of this attract more women than men.
Yeah.
Why is this? Is it because women have these challenges than men, or like we said about confidence?
Yeah.
Men tend to be more confident naturally. So when a woman doesn't have this, I mean, they seek support.
Right.
And or you think because men tend to bottle things up, because I know emotionally men like to bottle things up and men like to hide.
Yeah.
Society we live in, you have to be the strong one.
Yeah. So this is again my view, and I'm not a man, so please feel free to chime in
It's
if
okay.
it's not wrong, if it's wrong. But from what I understand, and I have colleagues who are also male coaches, what I feel like for men, it's not that they don't have these struggles. I think they have it just as much as women, maybe even worse. But I think the thing is with men, it's not commonly accepted for that, or feel like it's okay for them to go see someone for this. Like for women, it's very, okay, I need help, let me go and ask for it. But for men, like you were saying, they have to be the strong one. They can't show their feelings. They can't
be vulnerable.
Exactly, they can't be vulnerable. So because there's this, again, from like society saying like you need to be strong all the time, they hide it. And they have it just as much as women. From who I've spoken to, and even like my own partner, and look, he's super open about this stuff, so I'm not saying anything, but men have emotions and feelings too.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think, taboo for men to talk about it, or taboo for men to show it. But I don't think I think they're this,
So like men actually have the highest rate of suicide.
Yeah.
Do you think it has something to do with bottling up feelings, or?
Yeah, 100%. And actually, it's interesting you brought that up, because when I was in the US and I was taking a taxi back to the airport, on the radio, they were literally talking about this, how the highest number of is men.
Society.
And all of these things. And they were saying because men don't have places where they can feel safe to talk about these or supported. Maybe amongst your friends, it's always, bro, this, like this, right? So then they don't feel comfortable, versus women, like, within our female circle, we're like, oh my God, like we're okay with sharing these things with our friends. And our friends are probably, so I think that's what the things, they don't have as many spaces as women do to feel safe, to feel unjudged, where they can do that. But yeah, I remember that statistic listening on the radio when I was and this was for the US, so it might be worldwide too.
And I think one of the facts is that even a challenged man, a man who's going through a lot, is still the person that takes care of the woman that is going through a lot. So it's like you having stacks of problem and trouble, and the fact that men don't usually talk. A lot of us overlook all of these things, and the woman will never understand as well.
Yeah, and I think even, I'm not saying this, you might hear some women who are also going to say, I don't think men should cry, or a men crying is so like, that's not okay. No, I hear it from both sides. From men saying we need to be strong, we need to be take care, and then you also hear some women saying, no, men can't cry. He needs to be strong. He needs to be my protector. So I'm not trying to say anyone is
right or
wrong. We all need to acknowledge that we're all human, and we all have feelings, and we all have emotion, men or women, and we're also allowed to feel them and express them. Yeah, so both sides. So I'm not saying like women are.
Yeah, because I think when you bottle things up over time, it's like hiding risk, because once you hide the mistakes over time, they're going to pour on you, and it's going to be very huge and very devastating. Yeah?
Absolutely. And I think, men just brush it under the rug. They brush it under the rug and they pretend. And like you said, it bottles up, and then it comes out in, just not good ways for them. Yeah, absolutely.
So what is the number one, what causes burnout?
I love this. I know this.
What causes burnout?
Yes. So I'm a nerd for burnout, and because I have talk a lot about it. So basically, I want to do a little history lesson if you don't mind.
It's okay. I'm here to teach you.
Yeah, burnout was actually first used in 1974 by a German philosopher named Herbert Freudinger. So it's been around since 1974. So I know everyone gets new. He was talking about it in 1974. And when he was doing, this is the first guy who started talking about it, the 3 people who were the most burnt out when he was doing his studies, which I still think apply to today, were teachers, doctors, anyone working in the medical profession.
Yeah, that can be really...
and parents.
Yeah.
These are the 3 most burnt out people. And I still think that's relevant today. And the 3 components of burnout that he defines that I also very much agree with is the first one, burnout is caused by emotional exhaustion. When you're stuck in an emotion for too long, which is frustration or stress, it's like you go to work and let's say your job is stressful. Okay.
Yeah, right.
But then you go home and you don't process that stress. Now it's no longer just your job is stressful. Now your home is stressed. Like it's like you bring that stress back home because you're still stuck in that frustration of like work frustration. Right. So a lot of times we're just stuck in this frustration or this stress that might be from work, or it could be from our kids, or it could be from the traffic. We're not letting it process, or they like to say complete the cycle. So we're just constantly stressed, even though the situation has ended. So that's the first thing. And then depersonalization is when you're in this completely stressed zone, your body then thinks it's in danger. When you're stressed, your body thinks it's danger. So it puts you into survival mode. And when you go into survival mode, you don't even let yourself feel your feelings. You just are like day to day, I need to do this, I need to do that. So you kind of go numb, or people start to cope. They cope with, what do they call it? Doom scrolling. They cope with binge drinking. They cope with shopping. They cope with eating. So they have these very negative coping mechanisms to deal with this stress because they don't know how to process it. And then the third part is when you explode. You forget to show compassion to yourself. You forget your feelings. You just basically forget you're human. So you're just like stressed, you're coping, and then that's it. It's burnout.
I think it vibrates, right? Because it affects you, affects your community, affects...
Exactly. If you're stressed and you come home with that stress, of course, and this is for me too, when I was at my peak burnout, me and my husband were like, the fights were nonstop because I would just be stressed. He would say one thing to me and I'd explode. Right. And I would just be like super defensive. And then that's not good.
Red.
Yeah, I go red over the littlest thing is, oh, can you do this in the dishwasher? And I just like, no. And then the dishwasher was like, I can literally say the dishwasher was like a trigger for me. But because I was so stressed and I wasn't processing my stress and my emotions from different things.
So what is the first approach to not getting burnout?
So there's also, good. So there's actually 12 stages before you hit peak burnout. 12. So you can, before you hit to that last point, which is the burnout, there are like levels. And this is the thing that, and I can't speak because I did the same thing, is people they wait till the last part to do something, right? So to prevent us from going to stage 1 to stage 12, which by the way, it's not an overnight thing. It's not a day thing. It takes months and sometimes years to go from stage 1 to stage 12. But it comes down to learning how to process your stress. So basically there's I say your stressors, which are your external things. So your work, the traffic, these things causes stress.
Right.
And sometimes we can change these things, these stressors, and sometimes we can't. Then there's a second part, which is your stress. So when you're getting stressed by your boss, or whatever, or your job, your body starts to get stressed out. Stress is a physiological response. It tells your body that it's in danger. So in order to, instead of focusing on the stressor, that's what people think, oh, let me just change jobs. No, you're probably going to get a new stressor at your new job.
Right.
So that's what people often do. They change jobs, they move countries, they break up with people because that external thing is causing them stress, but they need to focus on that internal stress. So the first thing I always say is you need to learn how to regulate your nervous system. So this is our body. So when we are stressed, we have our nervous system called the sympathetic nervous system, or SNS. And I always say SNS is like SOS. So remember. So your body sees that you're stressed, and it's like sending all the energy and the adrenaline to your brain, because like when you're stressed, you either fight or you're flight. Right? So you're in danger. Your body's telling the Stressor is like, okay, you're in danger, your body's okay. Now either I got to get ready to fight or flight, right? So it's all of that is going there. That's your SNS or your SOS. Then we have something called your parasympathetic nervous system, or PNS. Your PNS helps you rest, digest, relax. So what I always tell people is you regulate your nervous system by that SNS. We got that. The stress causes us.
Yeah.
We need to learn how to activate the parasympathetic nervous system.
By what method?
This is the thing. Like, you don't need to go anywhere. You don't need to pay thousands of dollars. All of the ways that you regulate your nervous system is free, and you can do it yourself. So within our body, we have something called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is part of the parasympathetic nervous system. The way that you activate your vagus nerve is through breath work, is through singing.
Singing?
Yeah. It's through taking a walk. It's through petting a cat or a dog or these things, spending time with loved ones. Because when you're doing these things, you're telling your body it's safe. Because the other part is telling your body.
There are some things that you can't control, but how do you do this part?
So I think what you're saying is like dealing with conflict, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and conflict is very much.
No, it's not a conflict yet. How do you deal with these settings that will probably lead to conflict?
Yeah. So first thing, I never ever would say to immediately react, because our first reaction will probably be like not good. So I always, before I want to react to something, I make sure I literally either, like for a situation like that, I don't need to get along with this person, right? I'm probably never going to see him again. But let's say like I have a difficult boss or a difficult colleague who I have to learn how to see. I have to see this.
You have to adapt
every
to
day.
that,
So I have to understand that. So the first thing is I need to regulate my nervous system. I need to make sure I'm calm. So when I approach them, I'm not coming with this fight or flight, right? Because when I'm stressed, you want to fight or you want to fight, right? Me, I'm a fight, because that's what I would do before. I will fight someone. I will not run away. But I think 50% of it is just learning how to regulate and be like, deep breaths, and then really looking at the situation. And nowadays, I look at things so much differently. That's a situation where, again, regulated nervous system.
Right.
And I would always, this is how I do it. I always ask questions. So for when I went on this kind of healing journey, and even in most of my 20s, my parents, I've always been like the black sheep or the odd child or the problem child. Like I've never really been like supported, right? Today we have an amazing relationship. So this is, I think, for me, an example I would like to give, because as I was going and making these decisions in my life, they were the ones who were questioning me and doubting me the most, of like, why are you doing this? When are you going to get married? When are you going to find a stable job? So that's a lot of pressure. Yeah, that was the thing. And so again, when I didn't have these tools and this knowledge, I would just fight back with them. Like, you're wrong, you're da, da, da. And sometimes I wouldn't speak to them for years. It was not good. But later on, as I got more calmer and more understanding, now when they would say things like, I remember, and again, this is still years ago because our relationship has changed drastically today. They would say things like, why can't you just get a normal job? And I'm like, now I would ask the question, why don't you think my job is normal?
Yeah. Right.
So from now on, when someone like questions me or doubts me, I always answer with a question like, why do you think I'm doing this wrong? So for a colleague, they would say, oh, you didn't do this. And this is also something I hear from my clients. They're like, my boss is saying this. And I was like, do you ever ask him? What do you need from me? Can you please clarify this? But the thing is, when you say it in a state of, what do you mean? I can't believe this, versus, can you please clarify it for me? 99% of the time, the person will respond and be like, whoa, and they will bring it back on them. So that's how I kind of diffuse conflicts.
Yeah, it's easy to get lost in communication, right?
Yeah, that's...
Well, yeah, so do you work with corporates? How do you see corporate environment, from HR to employees, how they cope in this sort of setting? What are your thoughts? What are your insights? What have you learned so far?
Yeah, so I do work with corporates, and I'll just share some of the statistics that I read from like Arabian Business and different things, because when it comes to mental health, I know in the corporate that it's struggling a lot.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take time to change. And there are a lot of changes that need to be made. But the first thing is, before we wait for them to change, you can start controlling your world. You can start dealing with your stress and like I said, regulating your nervous system, asking your colleagues or your boss clarifying questions. But the other part I want to say, because I get this question a lot, is like, how do I deal with my boss? He's doing this. So one of the things I read, I think it was Arabian Business, it was saying like 8 out of 10 managers don't know how to support their employees when it comes to weight.
Right.
So even if you're stressed and you're like telling your boss,
he's stressed too.
Yeah, 9 out of 10 times he's stressed too.
He doesn't want to carry a burden.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know, the HR manager of a finance company. He does not know about the nervous system, and he does not know about these different types of things. So like, he doesn't even have the tools to support you, unfortunately. And even if, so that's what I'm saying, is even if he wanted to help you or she wanted to help you, they couldn't. They don't know the tools. So that's why I'm like, the blame game, it's just like it's like a vicious cycle. Oh, blame my manager. Your manager's stressed. And then he puts it back onto us. When we stop blaming each other and we start realizing things and just focusing on the one-to-one interactions, oh, he doesn't know, and then call me, I'll come to your office and I'll explain all of these things so that you guys can have the tools. But yeah, there's so many things that need to be changed, but I know it's happening, but I also know it's going to take time.
So do you suggest companies should employ wellness coaches?
Google's doing it, Acupuncture's doing it, Microsoft is doing it. All these big companies who are doing well, they either give wellness packages to their employees or they have these in-house therapists. I know for my example, my husband, his company was a startup, not even a big thing. They had like their own coach. They had their own mindset coach, and everyone got 2 or 3 sessions with her paid for by the company. So this thing is, already happening, and it's happening with the big names, and I think we look at, who's doing well? Look, what are they doing? I'm like, they're doing this. You know what I mean? So absolutely.
Yeah. So I think one of the goals of the city is being one of the happiest places on earth. So I think that's a really good aspect. And do you tailor your businesses to corporate these days? Or?
Yeah. So I have a corporate wellness being package. So I understand the corporate world. I understand I can't go in there and be like, let's, in my Lululemon leggings. Like, I will wear a suit to a corporate office, and I love wearing suits. So it's not even a thing. And I will present it. And that's, I think, a lot of things, that's what I get complimented on the most, is that when I'm talking about it, it's very practical. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you to go do ayahuasca in the Amazon forest, or wake up at 5 a.m. and do ice baths and green juices. You can do that, but I'm here for more of a practical. What are the small little steps you can do to improve your well-being? There's this amazing book, maybe you've read Atomic Habits.
Yeah, I've heard.
And it's all about the 1%.
Yeah, it's all about the 1%.
Yeah. 1%. Can you take a 15-minute walk every day at 3 p.m.? That's already going to help you.
Yeah, that's right.
So these are the things that when I'm working with corporates that I'm always advising and always pushing them and always educating them, because I think if they don't know why breathing is so important, they're not going to do it. But when I explain the parasympathetic nervous system, they're like, whoa, okay. So that's why I need to take deeper breaths. Or that's why I think, even for me, I was like, why do I need to breathe? I was the first skeptic. So I'm there to help and educate and give small little steps when it comes to corporates. And I speak their language. I understand their language. My clients are corporates. I've worked in corporate. It's, absolutely.
Another part of your programs, when a person realizes, so you have recurring clients. Mm-hmm. Is this a process? So is there no finish line?
No. And yes.
Okay, what do you mean by that? Yeah.
So yes, there is, when we finish working together, that's the finish line. But your wellness journey, your well-being journey never ends. If you stop working on yourself, and I'm not saying with me, it's just in general, that's when stuff gets bad. So I guess there is an end with me, but I don't want to say there's an end with their journey.
Okay, basically what you're trying to say is that you don't just focus on solving that particular problem, you also focus on how they can take it themselves.
Exactly. What action steps can you put into your daily
life?
Less
money into your bank account, yeah?
What?
Less money into your bank account?
It does, but I'm not doing this. But look, the way I see it as a business, yes, I get that. Because they're like, okay, if they only need you for 4 months, then I'm like, yeah, but there are like hundreds of thousands of burnout people. I will never stop having until everyone in Dubai, at least, or the world, because I have clients in Europe and the US are not burnout. I will always have clients. That's my thing of, because yes, you're right. That's the end of that journey.
So what's the biggest threat to your industry? AI?
No, I love AI. It actually helps me a lot.
There is actually an AI that you could talk to her about some sort of awareness. I haven't really explored it, but do you think AI could do much more in this category in the future?
It can do a lot, and I love it, and I support it, but it will never replace a human.
Why?
Because when we're human, connection is the biggest thing that I think is so valuable in what I do and in a lot of things. And when you're talking to a screen or you're talking to a robot, it's totally different than like just us two looking at each other and talking. You can't replace that. Humans, like, we have feelings, we have energy, we have emotions. You can't AI that.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't.
I love that you can't AI that.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. I don't think you could AI that. Like, even on a subconscious level.
Right.
Like, if you were a robot, like super realistic, my subconscious would.
There's no connection. That's
So I don't think that it would ever fully replace, at least for wellness and being, and because it's all about human connection. At the end of the day, it's like you want to. A lot of times, sometimes you just want to be understood. Yeah. And to hear that and be understood.
You want somebody to hear you out.
Yep. That is so healing on so many levels that even that is just already, a great medicine in itself. So I don't know, the threat I would see is, no, I don't
so there is no threat
I
with
don't know.
Your industry?
No, I love AI. So I'm trying to figure out how to use it more. So I'm not at all against it in any way. Yeah.
Okay. So what's the best way you can improve your business?
Whew. I can give you a long list because I'm working on that. So for me, very much, I'm trying to figure out systems and ways to onboard clients and get them to work with me. And then they have a client portal with all of their resources and everything they need so that when we're not working together or in between sessions, they have like a one-stop shop for them to use everything. And I am so it needs to be user-friendly. There are lots of things that do this, but if it's not user-friendly, I'm not using it. I'm not asking my clients. So I'm just working on creating systems so that I can do less. Also when I create my Instagram or my content, I love creating content. I love coming up with ideas, but then scheduling it and posting it and putting the caption.
Yeah, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot.
So I would love for AI to do that for me. Here's my content, make it cool and post it. Get my client, onboard them, put their client portal, provide tools. But again, I'm not going to be like, you must work with me. Here's something to test me out, see if I'm the right fit for you. That's the whole aim of this. And also there's a lot of value in it.
So it's about giving out value, right?
Exactly.
And so you've heard a lot of exhibitions. Is it exhibition or how do you call it?
Workshops.
Workshops. Workshops.
Classes,
About your workshops, what do you put out at your workshops?
So what is in the workshops? So that one, my Burnouts Balance, that's my signature one.
Yeah.
And it's basically the basics of understanding the regulating nervous system, because I think a lot of people don't know that. And sometimes that's all they need. But it's that, and then understanding mindset work and how powerful it is and limiting beliefs, and then also talking a little about soul purpose. So I cover these 3 points, and I also give them action steps. And look, this is the thing is, if you take that and you do everything I say in this, you'll beat burnout in 3 months. But the point is, and that's why with coaching, and even for myself, is I can give you the formula, but you have to do it. And if there's no accountability, 8 out of 10 times people don't do it. But the formula is here.
So how do they get? Do you also say accountability?
Yes.
Interesting.
Exactly. So that is when I'm working with people one-on-one.
Okay.
That's what gives, and that's also the difference between coaches and therapists. That's one of the differences. There's many differences.
Okay.
But with a coach, it's not just, okay, you have your sessions and you come in, which is therapy. It's you come your session, you come in, and then and then you go in for your next session.
Right.
With coaching, it's after the session, I give you homework, action steps, exercises to apply what we've done in the session to your life. And I'm following up with you on WhatsApp in between. So I'm holding you accountable. And before we set those big goals, we set mini goals. We set like ladders. Yeah. So we're not going 0 to 100. No, we go 0 to 10. So then that's how we get you to there. And because you have someone holding you accountable, checking in with you on WhatsApp, giving you exercises, it's not just about the 7 sessions. It's about all the support you get in between. And again, the formula is in the workshops. You can, if you do this, you'll be fine.
Right.
But 8 out of 10 people don't do it. So that's where.
But the reason though?
It's their mindset.
The mindset?
Their mindset. First off, they think that's the thing with when it comes to habits and atomic habits.
Yeah.
He says the reason people stick to things is obviously repetition, but it's the mindset. Do they have the mindset of I'm committed, I'm
Right.
invested, I'm doing this? And if you just have this there and it's like nobody's tapping you on the shoulder and be like, hey, you need to do this, hey, you need to do this. It's so easy to go, and because you don't understand yet the value of it, because you're reaching a goal maybe you've never been in your life. Right? So you're like, oh, I don't think it will happen. And there's all those limiting beliefs. And then those limiting beliefs cloud your mindset. And you're like, oh, I'm never going to get there. Oh, I'm never going to do that. Versus when I'm working with someone one-on-one, I'm like, what is your limiting belief? Let's unpack it. Let's think about it. Let's work through it. So then it gets removed.
Right.
So they're more motivated and they're this. So that's it. With anything though, with wanting to lose weight, with wanting to achieve something, if you don't have the mindset of like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get this done, it's so easy to give up if you just
Right.
rely on the physical, tangible results. Because it's,
Do you plan to write a book?
oh my gosh, yes. Yes, that is
I
a
think every
life
coach
goal.
writes a book, right?
Yes.
That's the point.
Yes.
Because I think you have a wealth of experience from different people. I think the best way to learn is learning from different people. So
Yeah.
you plan to write a book sometimes.
Yes, I went to a workshop the other day on how to write a book. Oh my gosh, it was so overwhelming, but I was still like, okay.
There are workshops for how to write a book?
Yeah, absolutely. It gives you step by step. You can work with a publishing company, and they hook you up with like a coach. And so that's probably the route that I would go in. But I think for right now, I still think there's a lot more I want to do and get more, like you said, experiences from people, get more information, get more like all of these things I'm learning.
So what is the highest part of being a coach? Is there a limit?
Highest?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is there a limit?
No. Look at Tony Robbins, right?
Tony Robbins.
Have you heard of him?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, so he's probably like one of the first ever coaches, and he now has online 3-day workshops that I think go up to thousands of dollars. And I know friends here in the Dubai who have done it, and because of the time zone, they have to start at 11 p.m. till 4 in the morning. So you have, I think, Tony Robbins, and he coaches people like Leonardo DiCaprio. I think Oprah Winfrey has a coach. So I think if you want highest level of coach, it's like going up there.
Highest level of a coach. So let's talk about the stages of coaches. Do you think it's about who you know or who you've been with, where you live? If you probably roll with Hollywood actors, you probably charge Hollywood fees, right?
Yeah.
It's not like there is anything significantly different from every other thing out there. Is there something they know that someone out there wouldn't know?
I think it's also just like with anything, right? Even if you were like, let's say, I don't know, like a photographer, or it's
like
where
a
you
photographer.
live or where you have access to. I think, of course, experience helps so much, and that's important in anything. But yeah, I wouldn't say, no, I don't think there's like any like specific like thing that, but I think what I will say is what a coach needs to have to get that is stamina, and that in the coaching world, you see a lot of coaches.
Yeah, coaching has ballooned since COVID.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of them give up after a year or two because it's really hard.
Really?
And only 10% of female coaches pass $100,000 US. So I think maybe even there might be a perception of, oh, all these coaches are making so much money because it's marketing. But if you look at the statistics, most coaches, like I graduated with my Soul Purpose Institute, there are like 350 of us graduating, right? Of just that cohort.
Yes, cohort, yeah.
I'm literally trying to think of someone else I know who graduated from my cohort who is still doing it.
Really?
To the level that I'm doing it. Because it's really hard. It's really hard. So
it's not something you stay in because you want to make money. It's something that you want to connect with people.
Yeah, there needs to be a greater goal. And for me, there is a greater goal. And again, it might be glorified. It might be romanticized, maybe even with influencers or YouTubers. Oh, you can make this much money. But for every success, there are at least 100 failures.
Of course. I mean, there is a survivorship bias. You only see the people that are making it.
Exactly.
You don't see everybody else that's falling off the line.
As much as like I'm here doing it, it's not, it's business-wise. It's not, it's
lucrative.
I'm just getting all these, it's hard work. It's hard work because even in this industry, there's a lot of not serious coaches, and then I get pulled into those categories. And I've worked with coaches who were not good or not aligned, and sometimes they make a bad reputation. So people are like, "Oh, coaches are a waste," and because they've had a bad experience. So there's even that thing that I have to fight sometimes. Of it gets, I don't even want to say I'm a coach because then I'm like, they put me in that category, and I'm like, but I'm not.
How else would you describe yourself?
That's what I was trying to. I was like, I'm a mentor, I'm a strategist, I'm a guy. But even
That's
those,
really cool. I'm a mentor, strategist.
yeah, but even those words, but that's not what I do. I literally coach. I literally I'm there.
You don't let every other person just describe you.
Yeah.
Who gets you will get you.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, they'll work with me when they feel it's right. But it's still hard. It's a hard industry. It's not like you said, it has ballooned, but it's not all.
So there is something I saw on your Instagram. Feminine energy. What is that? I've heard a lot about this. I really don't know how to what to make of it, how it is, how it feels, because it's feminine, right? And a lot of people uses this word. A lot of women use feminine energy.
Yeah.
Show your feminine energy.
Yeah.
How is it? What is it? Is it something universal? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. I hate it. I love it. I hate it but I think, so one of the things in my burnout thing was realizing that, so we have masculine, we have feminine energy.
Right.
And this has nothing to do with gender.
Yeah.
In fact, I sometimes call it our yin and our yang. We all have yin and yang. We all have masculine and feminine, even men.
Right.
Of course, men have more masculine than women. But so let's say the yin or the feminine. Your yin energy or your feminine energy is all about like relaxing, resting, your creativity, your connection to nature, your allowing yourself to be held, supported, nurtured, right? So it's good. We need these things. Even men need to be nurtured. Even men need to be allowed to be creative and feel their feelings. Then we have the masculine side, the logical, the structured, the organized, the ambition, all of these things, the independent. And for me, I was so much in my masculine, right? And masculine energy, you have to have a little bit more fire to you, right? And then if you were to describe the fire energy, and then you have water energy. Feminine is very water, it's cooling. Masculine is fire, it's you're ambitious, we're gonna go get things done. That's a fiery kind of thing. And so for me, I was always an independent, strong woman who...
You was?
I still am. I was gonna correct myself. Yeah, I was like, but no, let me say, I was a hyper independent, hyper achiever, overachiever, dominating, right? Woman who felt like I had to be a man in order to be successful in this world.
Interesting.
So I never allowed myself to connect to my feminine energy. I never allowed myself to ask for help. I never allowed myself to appear like I was sad or vulnerable, because these are seen as weak. These are seen as feminine. But men are powerful. Men, they don't have emotions, like what we were saying earlier. So I always had to be masculine because I wanted to be successful and I wanted to be taken seriously. And I thought that in this world, I had to be that to be successful. I literally had to be a man. Not physically, not always, that nothing, it's nothing or physical, it's the energy.
Yeah, right.
It wasn't, I was still wearing dresses, I'm still very much identify as a woman, but that attitude, energy, very masculine. I am a woman.
I find it very interesting that you connect with this part of being a woman, especially now when things like this are very debatable in the United States.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good sign.
Yeah, and in the U.S. and my sister, I love her. She is so on, like she's studying like gender studies, so she corrects me and she's like, it's a they them. You need to ask them their pronouns.
Yeah.
You know what it's like? They're like, she's or sometimes like, you're so hetero, or like you're so like cis. She's like, you're a cisgender. You will never understand what it's like to be a queer woman of color. And I'm like, you're right. I will not understand. Please help me, Sierra. Like so, but no, in the U.S. there's a lot of this, and I don't fully understand it, but I'm very much, please educate me. But this is what I try to explain when I have conversations with her. It's again not a gender thing. It's an energy. It's it's an energy you put out. I will still wear a dress, but I will be like super masculine. I'll be like, you can't pay for me. I'll pay for you because I'm the man in this relationship. But I'd be in a dress. I'd have my lipstick. I'd have my hair done and earrings and looking like a lovely lady. So again, it's not about gender for me.
So what I'm getting here is this feminine energy is different from the whole concept of feminism.
Yeah, yes and no. Yeah, feminine.
Because feminism tends to be rather firebrand.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. There's the real feminine is, I think sometimes people use feminism as a way we want to be better than men, but we want to be the same. That's what true feminism is, at least for me. I don't think any human is better than another human.
When you say the
All
same,
people.
in what terms? Physical, spiritual, mental?
I think more so in this world we live in of like in the
Opportunities
yes,
or
opportunities.
social aspect?
Opportunities, absolutely. Like in the U.S., like women are paid like 80 cents to every $1 that the man is paid. And if it even goes lower for women of color. So we're not equal in that sense, right? Our pay is different. Even, I don't know if it's here, but I think sometimes when a man is given an offer, they negotiate immediately a higher one, which is fair. But when women are given an offer, like a job offer, they're like, okay, they never negotiate higher. So they're never making equal amount to men. And again, some of it is from society, but some of it is from your own internal, like,
Conditioning?
yeah, lack of self-worth, lack of self-love. So there's still a lot of inequality when it comes to men and women, or just the fact of if a woman is a working woman and a mom, she has to do both. If a dad is like working, but he doesn't come home every day and cook dinner, nobody's getting on his back. Versus a woman, she has to go to work, she has to come home, she has to cook for the kids, and she has to do 2 jobs. And this is like sometimes it's clearly said, and sometimes it's an unspoken feeling of I work all day, because nowadays more women are working than before. So it's like they have double, so it's not equal. Like women are doing more work, like in the household, especially when they're working and stuff versus, and they're not, I think it's not just about the work, but it's also the kind of the guilt. That's something I hear a lot from my clients who are working women and mothers, and they're like, I feel so bad if I don't do this for my kids. And I'm like, but you're working. What about your husband? He works. And I was like, so do you. Why is it only your fault? Like, you're a team, no? So there's a lot that needs to be more.
So how do you think we could solve this issue? What is your opinion on that?
I think, the more we talk about it like this, the more we bring it to light, the more conversations we have. I think sometimes, even with my clients who are women, they don't even realize that they're putting this external pressure on themselves.
And that actually causes burnout too, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I was saying is most burnout people are probably parents, specifically women, because they're maybe working all day and then they're going home and they're doing all the household. And so, I think there really needs to be more conversations, especially between couples and families, of like, how can we create a family system that works for us, and creating like I think we were talking earlier about how it's no longer you just have the 9 to 5 to choose from. So you can create your own type of work life. Why don't you do that for your family life too? You can create how you want your family to flow. It doesn't have to follow the woman stays at home, man goes at work. If that's what you want for your family,
yeah, right,
that's great. If that's not, you guys need to communicate about that, I think.
Yeah. That's really cool insight with that. I think, having that discussion at the table where everybody's calm, everybody's reasonable, it takes a whole lot of pressure out of the equation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. On that, I think we've exceeded 1 hour.
Wow. Yes, we have.
We have. Just a very quick trivia question. What makes you happy?
Do I only need to say one thing?
No.
Okay, food, my cats, my partner, nature, the beach, music. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're very basic.
Well, they're very busy. Yeah, they're very
Freaking boring, but I can't think of any besides that list, anything that makes me happier. No, that's that list. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there? No. If I just had those things.
So make a wish.
I wish I could be in Dubai forever.
What you could basically be.
I that is the plan. That is the plan.
Interesting.
That is the plan.
I like that.
This is a place I feel very much home and accepted.
What about Dubai you like the most?
I love the mix of cultures.
It's superb.
You can never, and just like us meeting, how would we ever meet
You
in
were
America?
right. Yeah.
And
right.
how would I ever meet my husband who's from Italy?
You're right.
And when you have a mix of people and culture, you have a mix of food, which I told you food is happening.
And you learn a lot too.
Yeah, and then also music. You just get, I think if I want to try everything in the world. I want to try this food, I want to try that food, I want to this, and then the travel, which I've already done a lot of, but even being here, I don't have to travel all the time.
You don't have to travel because you literally, like a few days ago, I met this guy that lives close to me. His girlfriend is from Peru. I'm like, I've never met anybody from Peru. I've heard of Peru, but I've never met anybody from Peru. So you're the first person I'm meeting from Peru. So that was really awesome. And that's one of the good part of it.
Yeah, that's it. And look, the safety.
Yeah, right.
I am from the U.S., which is developed. I do not feel safe in the U.S. I feel
understand.
so safe here.
There are a lot of people who say that. I understand that.
Yeah. So I feel so safe, and I feel so just the diversity.
So
that's it.
what else have you learned since you've been here? What is the most advice you would give anybody?
I think first what I learned so much, obviously coming from the U.S., I knew nothing about Islam and Muslims, and of course there are so many bad perceptions we had. And I think that's the first thing I learned about is the culture, and it's so beautiful, and it's so much aligned to my own values. I think when people come here, come with an open mind, learn about the culture, engage with them. I think a lot of times as Westerners, we come and we just stay with our, like, Americans or the British, stay with the British, Americans stay with Americans.